I'm gonna, oh, look, I can do that. Let's do that. All right. Thank you for your patience. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Good job. So let's end. Oh, hold on. It's just jumping between Zoom and sorry about all my background noise, guys. I'm just going to go back to the first slide. There we go. Okay, so, and I have little people running around who are on their way to bed, so we'll be. So I'm really excited to be presenting this tonight, actually. It's the first time I've done it, so feel free to give feedback. This is business, well, they're calling it business made easy, right? Yeah. So I think business basics, keeping it simple, and I'm just going to run through a little bit of exploring the opportunity, what it would be the best part of running your own business. How do you feel about network marketing, which is a really, really big one that becomes such a big block for so many people, and myself included. What intrigues you about the opportunity with doTERRA, because it is quite unique compared to other things, and what does a residual income mean for you guys? So we're going to talk a little bit about these things. So financial freedom, I think it's kind of a term that's thrown around a fair bit. What does that actually mean? Now that means something different to everybody. Actually, there's a few scarcity blocks that we have, but financial freedom is looking, well, I feel like success for me is being able to do what I want with my own time when I want to. So the financial side of that becomes that I can afford to do what I want when I want to with who I want, right? So where are you? So traditional job in the slide on the left-hand side is trading hours for dollars. We've all done it. We all understand that concept. You're limited on advancement and earnings. Myself, who is at the top of my game in my career in terms of pay standard, the only ways for me to increase my income is to change job roles at the cap that I'm in. And to be honest, like even it's an extra, for some coordinator roles, it's an extra $14 for an entire shift to be in charge on the floor as opposed to being in the role that I'm in. So it's very minimal money for to go and do another addition onto my extra degrees is actually an extra 50 cents an hour. So when you're looking at what you can increase in your earning capacity compared to the financial and physical and emotional and time input, this is all over that. So you're very limited with the amount of time freedom that you have, and you're building somebody else's dream if you're working in a traditional business, or like myself and Stacey, you're a teacher who used to work for the government. So I don't feel like that's building anybody else's dream, but it's certainly not building something outside of you trading those hours for dollar kind of role. So when you look at authentic direct sales, you're looking at residual income that is true. This is the difference between direct sales companies when you have a product that people love and they're going to continue to purchase. There's no limits on advancements and earnings. So you don't get capped out. It's not a pyramid scheme. It's not everything that I do doesn't automatically affect the person above me. You can outrank people. It's not this ladder kind of system. So there's no limits on you. You can run as hard and as fast or as slow as you want to, but you are not capped out, which is actually, I labor this point a little bit because it is unique in the compensation plan that you can do that. Sometimes people think that multi-level marketing is, well, you just sign up somebody and you got lucky because someone below you is doing all the work. doTERRA's put a lot of stuff into the compensation plan, which rewards the people who are doing the work. It's not a get rich quick scheme, and it's certainly not a just sit there and enroll half a dozen people and cross your fingers that one of those people are going to do something. Am I right, Stace? You're nodding at me.
Yeah, totally.
It's set up, the system is set up to reward the people who are actually doing the work. So you've got the freedom to choose your own schedule. Obviously, that's super important for me, who's got a little family, and I want to be, you know, at footy training and school drop off and pick up, and I can work in my evenings and weekends and all of that sort of thing. And you're building your own dreams. Let's see if I can. Oh, can I make it play? Oh, it's
back in 1999. I was going to college,
I read a book, and it had a very impactful story that stuck with me ever since then. In fact, I was going to school to be a dentist. And when I read this book, I actually changed everything that I was doing and realized that I was actually going to school to haul buckets. Now, what I mean by that is this story. Basically, there's this guy. He lives in a village. The village is a couple miles away from the closest water source. And his job basically was to put a yoke on his back, hitched to 2 different buckets, and he'd make this hike every day. He'd fill his buckets up with water, walked back, and every day, all of his inventory was sold out. Everybody wanted what he had. Everybody needed what he had. He had an incredible job security. And if he wanted to make more money, he'd just simply make more trips. He would go back and forth as many times as he could, and every time he went back and forth, he'd make more money. And anyway, that's how he provided for his family. That's how the village got water. Well, another guy sees this and says, man, I want to take advantage of that because that guy's got perfect job security. Everybody needs his product. And so he fashions himself a yoke, gets a couple buckets, and starts making trips the same as this other guy. Just like the other guy, everybody needed his product. He's making a good living. But what he ended up doing is, instead of making multiple trips per day, he would basically make one trip, and then he'd take whatever extra time he had and start building a pipeline. I guess you could say he was working full-time on his job and part-time on his fortune. Well, one man was hauling buckets back and forth, making more money than his friend. He worked day and night, night and day, first hauling buckets to make sure his family was taken care of, and then working nights and overtime trying to figure out how to build this pipeline, overcoming the concerns that he had to deal with, the rocks in the ground. He spent the time doing that to build this pipe consistently and persistently over time. Well, a few years later, he finally finishes the pipeline, gets it to the village, and eventually turns on a spigot. Now, at this point, everybody in the village can come and get as much water as they want. It's cooler, cleaner, fresher, better than the water he was hauling with buckets, and cheaper. Everybody could get it much more affordably. And he did this. He not only built an actual pipeline that was a pipeline of water, but he also built a financial pipeline, something that would pay him and his family and take care of his needs for the rest of his life. And that's basically what I realized when I was reading this book, going to college. I realized I was going to school to haul buckets. I wasn't building a pipeline, something that would take care of me and allow me to pursue my greater causes and higher purposes in life. I was basically working for money. And so
I'm just going to pause it there. So the difference between hauling buckets and creating a pipeline, right? You'll hear that referred to. So I wanted to, whoa, we're going again. So I just wanted to pop that in there. So why doTERRA? Why doTERRA compared to any other option that you have out there? What is it that makes this particular opportunity so incredibly unique? I'm going to tell you. Thanks for asking. Why partner with doTERRA? Okay, so effective. So we have the most trusted, the most tested product out there. The other thing, which might come up a little bit later, but we have a compensation plan that has been created to get the product where it needs to be. You will see it's the biggest difference in any other MLM company with doTERRA than any other MLM company. Sorry, muddling my words a little. Is that this compensation plan was created to get the product best into people's hands. There wasn't the plan, and then let's go out and find another product. We have a great moneymaker thing, and we're going to find a product to attach to that system. Yeah, so with doTERRA, they've gone, how else are you going to get that understanding and that education of how good that bottle of peppermint is compared to the other bottle of peppermint that might be sitting next to it on the shelf. So they were like, we really need people to be directly selling this. We need people to be providing education, community, support. You guys all know how long it's taken you to understand what you can actually do with that one bottle of peppermint, right? You wouldn't have gotten that if there wasn't this particular model of how to sell essential oils. So just so you know, that's why this was developed this way around. 4.5 million, which is actually increased now, million customers used by doctors, hospitals worldwide, Absolutely. It's all around the hospital that I work in as well. Record-breaking retention rate. Now, this is a really key point because the industry average is between 13 and 14, no, 11 and 16%, I believe. This is about 13, so it's the average. We have a retention rate of between 60 and 70%. So on average, you're looking at 65% for our customers that will continue to get on the look because we have such a incredibly generous loyalty rewards program. You girls know that you've switched out your shampoo, you've switched out your cleaning concentrate, and that's just what you're always going to purchase. So this is really key when you're looking at the building blocks of this, is that people are going to forever use these products. Proven. So the largest essential oil company in the world, the growth rate was similar to Apple. So we hit $1 billion company in the same time frame, which was just under 7 years. Optimal timing for the opportunity right now, given the world health confusion, shall we call it. 120 markets open worldwide. So if you have friends in Canada and you want to solely build your business in Canada or America, or Japan has massive amounts, or we're in South Africa and New Zealand, obviously having a company where you can create a business and you can have your friends from the UK, friends from America, all contributing to the same product, doTERRA is set apart in that area too. Privately owned, also very important, not like a privately owned hospital where you get given directive from everything, that you can rest assured that the executive of doTERRA are heart and soul great people and are really in this because of the benefits that the oils provide to people. So being debt-free and not having any outside funding may not seem like a big deal, but it's actually huge when you know that there is nobody outside the company that has any stake in it other than you guys, right? You know, when you get to the level of gold, you are then getting a percentage of, and I'm not going to break down the whole entire compensation plan. I'll do a little bit of that later, but the shareholders are actually wellness advocates, are the people that are part of the company, that we're all small business owners. So me as a wellness advocate, the growers from the farm, that's their small business. So we're all contributing in to this beautiful melting pot. So it's proven to be working really well like that. Caring, right? Great partnerships with growers. You guys would know, hopefully at this stage, about the co-impact sourcing, Healing Hands Foundation, that huge focus on giving back. We could tell you story after story, and if you haven't heard anything on the healing, can you hear those guys talking in the background? No? Yes, you can. Is that really distracting? No, you're okay. You can hear me louder though, right? I'm like hanging down at my like, sorry. That the Healing Hands Foundation, if you haven't seen any of those videos, or jump on my website, Stacey's probably got some there, or just Google co-impact sourcing and have a look at what this company is doing in the world on the ground, and you will be like, oh my goodness, like you'll find 1 or 2 stories that pull your heartstrings and you're like, for me, it's massive, you know, getting people out of human trafficking situations, providing hospitals, actually, aftercare shelters, schools, education for women, as long as education for boys as well, like huge differences that are happening. So the caring aspect of what we're doing in the world is huge. Every purchase going towards changing the growers' lives and also their communities. Questions you may have. So how much money do you make? How much time is involved? And could this work for me? Are there anybody, raise your hand if you've got one of those questions. Yes. Yes. Oh, good. A few people. I don't want to talk if you guys don't want to know what I've got to say, right? So how do you make money? We sample somebody, give them a sample of something. We teach them how to use it. We enroll them, or we get them a customer account, and then we support them. That's how we make money. Isn't that beautiful? How much time is involved? That's it. That's it. So paying for your product, you're looking at 3 to 5 hours a week. Boys, can you be a little bit quieter? Sorry, there's a lot of people listening to me. Paying for your product is 3 to 4 hours a week. And we're looking at income producing activities, not making graphics or fluffing around on Facebook. I'm sorry, your 5 hours of Facebook is not counted for business time. Unless you're on one of the collective or one of our groups and you're answering questions and you're supporting people, that counts as business time, but not just generally searching Pinterest kind of social time, right? You know what I'm talking about. Supplementing your income. So really that is, average, we say you need to be putting in 15 hours a week if you're really going to be like, I'm going to give this a good go. And then there's a number of reasons for that. You can reduce the amount of hours that you're putting in and stretch out the time frame. But it's like the example that I heard the other day is, it's like if you have one swimming lesson, because I was talking about this with my son, you have one swimming lesson and then you don't do another swimming lesson for 3 months. Are you going to be a better swimmer because of that one lesson, or have you forgotten that skill by then? So the amount of hours is actually a lot to do with the consistency and the learning opportunity and the growth in what you're doing. So it's less about adding this amount of time and this amount of time and this amount of time together. It's a lot about learning, education, and consistency. Anything you want to do to achieve success requires consistency. So if you're choosing to be 5 hours in and you do that every week, that is incredibly valuable. If it's more like the 15 hours, you're going to guarantee you 15 hours a week, you are going to be seeing results in a short period of time with that. Okay. Replacing your income is more like that 20 to 30 hours a week. And that's if you're wanting to hit these ranks much faster. Ranks, what are you talking about, right? I'll get to it. So I like this little graphic actually, because it just again explains the linear versus residual income model. So if you have your own, so when you're self-employed, you're being paid again for hours versus time, right? So you effectively own a job. You're looking at that top left-hand corner, you have a job. You see down below, you own a job. You don't have any leverage on that. A business owner, you have a system and you have people alongside you, people working with you, people working for you, yeah? Then you're looking at having that leverage when you're a business owner and being an investor. So money is working for you. This is when we're talking about passive income. So you can see that doTERRA is fitting into those two columns actually as a business owner and an investor, not just the one singularly. So and I like that quote down there, you'd rather earn 1% off 100 people's effort than 100% off my own effort. So the dilemma is the average income that we need to retire. And these are American figures, so you can add a fair chunk on this for Australia and New Zealand. And then we kind of don't use the term nest egg so much anymore. I heard this explained as somebody who was wanting to achieve the rank of gold, which is approximately $5,000 a month. And he's a very successful businessman and he's a lawyer, and he was looking at the doTERRA opportunity, and he went to Paul Ovens, actually, who a lot of you guys will know, and said, hey, I want in on this. My goal would be to be gold within 10 years. And Paul was kind of like, oh man, that's a long time frame for what we're sort of expecting. Can you tell me how you came to that rationale? And he said, well, I know that the amount of money that I'm going to need to retire on, I'm looking at putting $100,000 away every year to be able to have $1.2 million, to be able to invest that and receive a passive income or return on my money of $5,000 a month. It's going to cost me $1.2 million in investment. And this is how long it's going to take me to be able to save that money on top of what I'm already spending. You guys follow me? Yeah. So that's massive, right? So when you're looking at it at that point, you're going, well, okay, actually, so I might not be seeing massive results right now, but if I'm looking at it in a long-term perspective, then there's really something here. So if you're looking at retiring, or you already have retired, and you want something to have a play with, also awesome. If you're not retired like myself and would like to do that at some point, and I'm not going to receive a pension in this country, and I feel like the older you get, the retirement age is changing, and that statistic there of 98% of people that are retired depend on outside financial resources is frightening to me, the way that our government is. I don't trust anybody to be paying for me to be alive. And I don't want to hand that on to my children either. So why would you do this with direct sales? So it's a built-in business model: product sourcing, order fulfillment, billing, customer service, no inventory, shipping, overhead requirements. You guys, that's massive. I have friends that have created products themselves, and the amount of time and energy they spend on branding, marketing, getting like emails out to people, the shipping costs on everything. Like, we are so incredibly blessed that all of that admin-y stuff, and the fact that we have customer service available, and anyone that we enroll as a customer can phone them up and say, hey, I had this problem with my diffuser, can you send me a new one? I don't take those calls. Customer service does all of that. Amazing, right? The built-in education systems. So the product knowledge, the business trainings and leadership development, it all comes along with it. And it's an insanely low startup cost. The only ongoing financial commitment that you have is your 100 PV LRP order. And they're products that you're going to receive for your household already. The majority of you who are interested in looking at this as a business are going, well, I spend that anyway. I'd love to get return on that. Stacey, you want to?
Can I say, Jess, I claim my 100-point order every month against my taxable income.
Oh, you totally can.
So that's just, I'm using it, I need it for my business, and it just makes it, it's great affordable that it's covered and claimable. Just another perk of being your own, running your own business.
Yeah, so from your loyalty rewards order, you're getting 55% back off the retail price. So you've got a lot of points that are stacking up every month. Yeah. And you're also using those products. It's not just you don't have to pay $200 a month to be part of this opportunity. You will actually find a lot of businesses where you have that ongoing cost, right? We don't have any of that. So what do you want to create? So here's the income opportunity. Yeah, that's right, Leonin.
Yeah, that's good.
Leonin. Tiny little, it's tiny little. I'm going to make it bigger for you. So this is a bit of a graphic on how much money you can make at individual ranks. So this isn't my favorite graphic. I like the one in the share guide the best because that breaks it down.
Build guide?
More. Yes, thank you. The build guide.
In the middle.
The beautiful pictures there, and mostly because it's color coordinated at the bottom, so that I can see exactly what is going into Fast Start, what's going into uni level, what's going into leadership pools, etc. But this is just the basis on what you're looking at in terms of money. And again, this is US dollars. So executive, well, we sort of look at elite as the first rank. Executive kind of neither here nor there. Elite, you're looking at about $300 to $400 or average, unless you've got, there's elites that are being paid a lot more than that. But the majority of elites, so you're paying for your order and then some extra on top of that. Premier, you start looking at, a little bit of play money around the $1,000 mark. Silver, that well and truly doubles. Most silvers I know are paid over $2,000. Gold jumps up to that 4.5. This is actually too low for gold because we receive an extra bonus on that now as well. So that is definitely more like an average of $5,000. Platinum doubles up to like $10,000 a month. And then diamond is another step up. So platinum is actually a really amazing rank to be. There's a good pay chunk at platinum. So a lot of people just want to think diamond. And then obviously you can see how much that jumps up there. So these are those lower ranks there, making it bigger there for you. So in this graphic, you can also see what is a premier. So premier has 2 executive legs, and that's why the executive column is included. So it's a total volume of 5,000 OV, that's your overall volume. So total 5,000 with 2 legs of 2,000 as a minimum. So that other one comes from somewhere else. This is the first rank where you actually have to know a little bit about structure. Silver is 3 elites. Our entire business is built on elites. That's why we focus so hard on the Launch to Elite program. I know, Emma, that you're doing oil games at the moment. You can get yourself, if you can learn how to launch to elite, get to elite, achieve that rank, and then teach 3 other people to do the same thing, or even 2 other people to do that effectively, because you're that 3rd elite leg, then that's silver. And you're looking at $2,000 a month. So you can see how powerful this model is, right? And then jumping up from there, gold is 3 platinums. So remember, the platinum rank was 2 executives each. Premier, not platinum. Platinum is the one I'm about to talk about. So platinum is 3 silver legs. So silver is 3 elites. So you've got 3 silver legs as platinum. Diamond is the first time we're adding in that 4th leg. So that 4th leg is also silver, interestingly enough. That's how a lot of people sort of plan for diamond and hit premier platinum somewhere along the way. Blue diamond is 5 golds. That's the rank where we look at as being incredibly stable, and you start retiring your husband, as people put it. I hate that term. I hate that. But there's a lot around that, is then becoming the kind of income that is more than what 2 people in a household with children would need. That's kind of the numbers that we're looking at there. So there's 5 different ways to get paid in doTERRA. Your fast start is the one that you need to all be focusing on. So that is, you get 20% of any order in the first 60 days of your new customer. 20% of the PV amount. So for our Home Essentials kit, that's roughly about $50 that you get put straight into your account for a Home Essentials kit. So I know people that are like, well, I don't want to pay for my oils next month, and it roughly costs me about $130 for my 100 PV order. So I need to do 2 Home Essentials kits and 1 Family Essentials kit, or 1 custom kit, and that's going to cover my order. So you're looking at enrolling, 3, and if you don't, if Home Essentials kits isn't something that you sell a lot of to your customers, then you want to increase that number. Does that make sense? So if you're dropping the PV on the enrollment, then you're increasing the amount of times that you're doing that. So you can see.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, please.
See where it says here where Joe enrolls Sue, and it says you earn 5% of Sue's order. Is that just that one order, or is that every order?
The first 60 days. So this is fast start. So fast start bonus only is for every 60 days. So let's just say that Stacey enrolled me and I enrolled Pam. Actually, let's go Pam, and then Mim enrolled Pam. So Mim gets 20%, I get 10%, and Stacey would get 5% of that order. So this is the one time when the person who enrolled you really makes a difference in that money. So Stacey and I see money popping into our account for things that we haven't actively done because of the size of our teams. So it is significant that fast start bonus is only for the first 60 days. So that's their enrolling order and their first LRP order. And the first LRP order is not something to forget about. If they place another order in that 60 days, you're making good money off that. And they structure it that way because if you can get somebody onto the loyalty rewards program within that first month of being enrolled, then statistically, they're about 8% more likely to stay on that, as opposed to leaving it for months and months and then trying to get them on the rewards program.
All right, thank you.
No problem. So Power of 3, this is my favorite bonus. I've got a whole nother PowerPoint actually on teaching Power of 3. So I will do that in detail with you guys at some stage. So this is paid based on structure. So each team needs to have a 600 team volume to receive this bonus. But what you're looking at, so these 3 people, I don't know if you can see my little mouse on there.
Yeah.
So this person here is placed 100 PV LRP order. LRP, loyalty rewards. Yeah. So their rewarding order is 100 PV, 100, or you can look at it as 150, 150, 150, and that'll do it for you, including your order, and that'll take you to a total of 600. So this is $50 that you get as a bonus because you have customers, and this is not enroller based. So Stacey could have put these 3 people on your front line and you will receive that money as long as you're placing your 100 PV order. Amazing, right? They don't even need to be your personal enrollments. Now, this is super powerful because you do this for yourself, and then you do this for the people that you've done that for, which is this next line. Then that's $250 US. So Stace, that's what, $320, $330?
$370 last month.
There you go. So last month, $370 that you get paid just for having these customers on your front line. And then, of course, that third level is $1,500, which is US again. So that's
$2,200.
Thank you. $2,200. Guys, this is a bonus pay. This is not your fast start. This is not your uni level. This is a bonus. Why? Because this is the way doTERRA want to structure you. And I will always teach all 5 ways of earning money in doTERRA, because there's not one that is above any of the others. This is certainly something that you need to be aware of from the outset. That's why we put all of your customers along your front line. Yes, question? I see that.
Is that money that goes into your account or money that you have to spend as doTERRA dollars?
Great question. So money that goes into your account is your doTERRA account. So it's called your AR balance. So what I suggest people do personally is that you let that AR balance get up to a point where you're able to comfortably pay for your own product every month. And then as and when you need it, you can withdraw that and get it thrown into any bank account at any time that you want. So for people who are wanting to avoid, I'm not going to encourage anybody to be avoiding tax. I'm just saying if you've got ways of managing your money, you can keep all of that money on your AR balance. I think the first time I ever paid myself, it was over 10 grand. So I had left that money on my AR balance. But there's other people that they need that money. So they paid themselves $200 as soon as they got $200. So that's completely editable, Pam. You could have that money come directly into your bank account, or you can keep it with doTERRA's AR balance that you can see live.
So you could save it up and then go on a holiday.
Absolutely.
And I waited until I was the rank of silver before I started that to be transferred into my bank and mine goes in monthly now.
All right. Yeah. No, I was just wondering. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
It's a great question.
It's a great question. So you can see how the power of 3 is really important. Now, also uni level. Now, don't be confused by uni level. The general concept is, which is so different to a typical uni level plan. So what I want you guys to walk away from today is, if you look at that top level, and this is somebody on your first level. So these are your friends and family that you have opened customer accounts for, and they're sitting on your top row. So they are your first level. In doTERRA, that number 1 gray column, you'll be paid 2% on their ongoing orders. So this is after fast start finishes, yeah? So from that, you go from 20% and then you get 2% on every order after that. So you go, oh my gosh, 2%, that's not much at all, right? You look at another company and they're getting paid 7%. So they're getting $31 versus our $9. So it seems really unfair to get started with, right? But then you look at how this is flipped up, and instead of being this way, it's this way, and you're getting paid the most on the least and the least on the most. Any structure that you look at going down from you, there is way more people on your 7th level than there is on your 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th level. So you can see how the same order in this compensation plan is going to end up paying you 12 grand, whereas with doTERRA, that's going to pay you 33 grand, which is how we are so far above every other company once you have gotten through this first sort of few levels of rank. Okay, so when you're getting further down, then you're getting paid more and more. So that's how it balloons out really fast, which again is part of the importance of the consistency. And we will, of course, help you every step of the way. It's not. So there's extra leadership bonus pools. I'm not going to go too much into this. Golds are receiving an extra share. It does also, another cool thing about This part of the compensation plan is the empowerment bonus. I'm not sure if that is on the next slide. Yes, the updated empowerment bonus. So this does talk about it here. So the 2 shares, so that as a share is a percentage of the entire global company's earnings, right? Huge. This is what I'm saying. Like, we are the shareholders actually in the company because we're the ones that are getting paid shares. And they know that yeah, you have a question.
Do they pay a dividend?
Yeah.
On the profit of the company?
Yep.
They pay a profit. They pay a dividend every year?
Every month.
Every month, yeah.
Oh.
Every month that you hit that rank. Now, the thing about the empowerment bonus is that you must have personal enrollments. So you will get a gold rank, for example. So silver, it's 1 share. Premier is now also getting 1 share. This is why you guys getting to Premier as quickly as you can is actually starting to make a big difference now that you're getting the empowerment bonus. So it only ever used to be for golds, then they extended it to silvers as well, and Premier. So Premier empowerment bonus came in about when I was Premier. So I was stoked on that one. And now gold, you get 2 shares instead of 1. So this just happened in the pandemic. In May was the first time we got paid the extra share at gold. So you need to enroll 2 people to be able to receive that empowerment bonus twice. I love that because it means that the leaders at that level are still doing the same work, right? It's really important to be following.
So if you don't enroll 2 new people each month, you don't get the bonus?
Nope.
Right.
So you actually have to have your hand in the game. You need to
have to be working and not sitting on your backside doing nothing.
Yep. Yep. And then you handsomely get rewarded for that. When you go higher, Pam, when you're in the next rank, it doesn't require that. This is at this rank so that they can be very generous at this point to help people jump to that next rank.
I'm nervous enough on the rank I'm on at the moment, which is the very bottom one.
You don't need to be nervous. There's nothing to be nervous about. It's very simple, really. So the power of 3, you're looking at your level 1. So that's again US dollars. So like I said, you need about 12 grand US. So what, 15 grand minimum, 16 grand at least, you reckon, to be earning that sort of money. So when you're talking about the thousands of dollars that you have to put into an investment to be getting this sort of a return, just to be supporting customers to use products that you know and love. Crazy, right? Like, you guys love this stuff. Emma, I know that you were on this call and you love the shampoo. You get the shampoo to your girlfriends and you get rewarded for that. Like, it's very rewarding. So then obviously level 3. So if you did nothing else, if you never looked at any rank and you were just going for your level 3, power of 3, then look at the money that you need to have invested to be able to get that sort of return every month. Huge. That's like 25 grand a year that you're getting as a bonus. Uni level. So we talked about the uni level before. That's the percentages. Don't worry about the uni level. It gets paid. You don't have to think about it. Focus on your fast start and your power of 3, and don't worry about any of the other bonuses. That's my red hot advice at this point. So when you have, when you're looking at your 10-year plan, and this is the sort of income that you're increasing, like I did, this is, oh yay, I'm getting 65 grand. And, 10 years ago, I was only getting 50. That's a good increase. When you're looking at the doTERRA 10-year plan, even if it takes you 10 years to get to gold, that's an extra 60 grand that you're getting paid every year. We're looking at that more as a 5-year plan if you're looking at it. So that's what I'm saying. You can stretch this out if you want to. You don't have to hit diamond in 2 years. If you want to do that, by all means, we will happily support you. But it doesn't need to be that to make a huge impact in your life. The key is don't give up. Just keep going with consistent efforts, consistent. You can't just have one swimming lesson and then nothing for 2 months and be a better swimmer, right? You can't teach one class every 2 months and expect to get momentum from that. So what is the next step? If you don't have a wholesale account already, you can well, actually, I think the majority of people, well, I don't know everyone on this call, it's kind of gone off my screen. But if you have a wholesale customer account, it is an instant upgrade. I never let anybody in my team upgrade from a customer unless you physically have an enrollment form of somebody else in your hand. Because if you do that within a certain time frame, we have opportunities to actually move you and put you in a different position if that's required. So if you don't, you can choose a kit and you can set up. And if you're brand new on the page and you jumped on this call just because you're interested in the business opportunity, then we recommend you start with the Nature Solutions Kit as a business building kit as a minimum, because you're going to need all of those products. So Nature Solutions Kit is where it's at if you're going to be running a business. If you've gotten started a while ago and you started with family essentials or home essentials, you have everything you need to start teaching a class right now. We want you to tap into the existing resources. I know I'm going to be doing a bit of a re-business launch coming up, and we're definitely training a completely different way than what we have in the past. So our resources are drastically improving in a big hurry at the moment. And you start making your list. Yep, write a list. I was very hesitant to do this for a very long time, and I wish that I had have kept better track of all the people that I spoke to about the product I was using and why I was using it. And I thought people would come back and ask me if they wanted it. And you know what? They don't. We get distracted. Life is busy. And then they go, oh yeah, no, my friend told me about doTERRA. It sounds really great. And then they go and enroll with somebody else because you didn't spell it out to them. You didn't follow them up. And conversely, I've had people that are like, oh yeah, I used that a long time ago, but I never heard back from her. Or somebody gave me a sample and I didn't really know what to do with it. Could you teach me? Yeah, I can teach you. Sure. So the follow-up is really, really important. So please don't willy-nilly throw samples at people. It doesn't get you anywhere. And writing that list keeps you consistent and the continuity, and you can go back to it. And now we're looking at 13 touches for people. So please don't be discouraged if you ask somebody if they're open to trying something and they say no right now. That doesn't mean no forever. It just means that they're not interested right now. And I'm not saying be an annoying person and keep knocking on that door. The questions we ask are the 3 doors of openness. So are you open to trying an essential oil? Are you open to learning about essential oils? Are you open? And if they say no, then they're closed. No problem. Next person, right? So it never feels like you're forcing yourself or your idea or your new little thing onto anybody. People will happily answer that question, are they open to? And then you consistently follow them up. So that's my presentation. Does anybody have any questions for me? No questions.
Have we written our list?
I'm sure they will.
2 or 3 people in mind?
I'm going to stop the recording so